How's it going, trainers? I am fresh off of doing over 9 hours of commentary with my co-commentator Spraggles for the first Hoaglandia Spraggles Pokemon Pocket Tournament, and this match in today's video is one of the most awesome back and forth matches from our tournament rounds that took place in the top 32. We're going to be seeing a Rampardos Fossil Fighting deck face off against Dialga Melmetal. I really hope you enjoy it, and if you want to see more content from this tournament, I'm going to link the full live stream on the YouTube side from Spraggle's Pocket channel in the video description down below. If you enjoy this, be sure to smash that button for the rest of the day. Have fun.
You gotta absolutely love some of these decks that made it up here, right? This is a really fun one. Hitmonlee. This deck has it all, man.
Listen, there's a duck too. I'm telling you, Farfetch'd is still just one of the best cards in this game.
It's got Farfetch. It's got Hitmonlee. This is fun. Does it have Marshadow? I don't think it does. This almost has the makings of one of my favorite decks to play. That's Sneaky Hitmonlee. I love it.
Some Melmetal up top. I assume there's some Dialgas lurking here for the Dialga enjoyers.
This is a nice moment, obviously, for Meltan, right? I mean, you're looking at Hitmonlee. You're not scared at all. You can just amass, generate extra energy right in their face.
Yep, I'm just gonna decline playing a bench Pokemon out here. You will not kick me.
Mm-hmm. It's gonna force them to play this probably Duck and X Speed to deal some damage here.
This is one of the reasons why X Speed is such a powerful card in these Hitmonlee Farfetch decks. Being able to pivot this lead into whichever one is least ideal for your opponent is quite strong. It's going to force them to either retreat the Meltan next turn or have the Melmetal right away.
Really nice play right here. I love this. Keeping the pressure on. 40 damage. Now they're going to need to make some decisions on the other side, right?
Really astute observation from Twitch chat is that Hitmonlee dealing 30 points brings almost every Pokemon in the game into a Rampardos one-shot range. It's a really clean 1-2 breakpoint.
That is very cool. Yeah. Hitmonlee is great. It's such a good card. I feel like until we had a great wall, like Drud, it didn't get enough play because things could just power in your face. But then the Drud wall really set some pretty incredible stuff up. We're taking a look at Rampardos here on stream. 130 damage for 1 energy, but it will take recoil damage. However, it will only take that recoil damage if it KOs a Pokemon.
Is there a Melmetal here?
I don't know.
Okay, cool.
I do know. Yes, there is.
I'm a little surprised to see them retreat it, given that they have the Melmetal, because the metal coat would have kept you a little insulated from the duck anyways, and then you'd be able to set to attack next turn. Curious to see how this sequence plays out here now.
Yeah, and the interesting thing here is if you do put the Melmetal on the bench, is it still taking -20? I guess it could, right?
It does, yeah.
It has to be in the active slot, so it still takes -20.
It's still an attack.
Yeah.
One of the kind of neat things about Rampardos being the big payoff for this fighting deck is basically everything you're doing is all 1 energy, right? So like in most decks, like spending your second energy to like retreat back to Hitmonlee is like that's a tempo black hole you never recover from. But because this deck has such efficient attackers all the way up the curve, you can spend your energy freely to do this and outmaneuver your opponent in a lot of key spots.
Here we go. We have the X speed being used. They're going to bring in the Melmetal. It's a tough one.
So we have both evolutions in hand for the Rampardos here, right? So that's dealing a whopping 130 here. So Melmetal's going to pick up another knockout next turn on the Duck, but we're going to evolve right on up into the Rampardos on the bench to get to clear it back and be in an all right spot, I think.
Yeah, that wouldn't be too bad.
Now,
I don't know if the opponent has a Sabrina.
Yes, a noteworthy call out is we're soft to Sabrina. I imagine if there's a Sabrina lurking, we're going to see the communication dig for a basic because we have a second stage 1 here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would make the most sense, right?
Interesting dynamic here that, Farfetch'd and Hitmonlee are the 2 Pokemon you want to lead the most on in these fighting decks. So playing those and then fossils past it means you always get your ideal leads, which is slick.
Okay, we've got Mew back out. Farfetch could swing. I'm guessing they're not clawing through their deck for anything, so maybe they're playing Cyrus or they don't have either, right? Because if they have Sabrina, I don't think you make a play like this. You couldn't feel safe enough, right?
If you're just joining us, not only we're in the top 32, but these tournaments are open deck list, helps maintain competitive integrity and a fair playing field for everyone going on in the event. So players get to leverage that knowledge with their skill when to play around things like Sabrina that you normally have to be guessing a little bit more when you're playing random matches in the queue.
Here's the leaf. We're using it to retreat and pick up the KO. So obviously they felt great about not having Sabrina here. Dialga hits the board. And Melmetal goes down. We do have Dialga as an option here.
Something that's
This is going to give them
noteworthy
2 points.
about Melmetal, one of the big appeals of playing this deck is it's got a really powerful attack, but it's notably only a 1 knockout point Pokemon. So you're gonna feel good on the Rampardos side to get this cleared out, but at the same time, like you're only 1 point out of 3 while your opponent is still up 2 at this point.
All right, here comes Cranidos. And we do have the possibility of getting Aerodactyl out there as well.
Yep, this is good. It means that the Rampardos can crack this, and then we have a meaningful thing to pivot back into. But I suppose the 2 retreat cost of the Rampardos could be relevant here if we don't top deck another X speed.
Okay, 1 point over to our fossil deck. Again, we're taking a look at Rampardos. 100 HP. Obviously, if somehow if they could get enough energy on this right away, they would be able to KO it. Instead, they'd be able to put 2 energy on, do 30 damage, and power the bench.
Really noteworthy part about Rampardos' templating here is that it gets to attack for 130 and not take recoil damage if it's not clearing this Dialga.
Ooh, 2 Dialgas. And it was already flared, if I'm looking at that right. They're flaring the immersive Dialga?
Some good fortune there.
They are part of the 1%, okay? I don't know. I feel like something needs to be done about this. 30 damage to the Rampardos.
Dawn is lethal from this position now, right?
Yes, Dawn is very scary.
It lets you...
Even, I mean, they can't...
Oh, the Mew is just lethal next turn, too. Yeah, that's
it is.
that's all
it
she wrote.
becomes Rampardos, right?
Yep.
So now they're going to have to retreat.
But if you retreat, you're just kind of conceding, right?
You're just kicking the can down the road, basically.
Yeah, you buy a turn, but there's like no... Figuring out how you don't lose the game is the first step towards winning, but you also have to like build a path in your mind from there. And once you retreat to the Aerodactyl and it takes a hit the following turn, you're just gone. So this player is dead on board, and they can see that, but their out to win this game involves their opponent making a mistake, so they're playing to that out.
Yeah. 3 energy.
Yep,
There's the Dawn. GG.
Dawn's a way to win it. The Mew on board was already a way to win it.
Yeah, lots of great options for him. We've talked about Dawn all day. If you're just joining us, this card's great. And if you fits into so many decks, it helps you make so many plays. I feel like while Cyrus is amazing, Dawn seems like it just fits in so many more decks even. Cyrus is great, but it feels like Dawn, you can play it in so many decks. Having the ability to move an energy around that's already on the board is so dang valuable. I love it.
Card games like Pokemon Pocket at their core are all about resource management, and where you allocate your energies, especially in the early game, is one of the most important resource management questions and decisions you make. And Dawn lets you reshuffle that decision and forces your opponent to play around different things in your early setup in a way no other card in the game does currently.
What do we have next, Mr. Hoagland?
Got a game 2 here. Our Dialga player is up a game against Rampardos. We're leading on that Farfetch. We got 2 of those fossils set up here. Here's joining us. All of our rounds are best of 3, so Rampardos is down but not out. Let's see if they can rally it back into forcing a game 3 and maybe still take the match here.
You gotta love having a little Farfetch'd to start on turn 2, right? I mean, just swinging for 40. Beautiful energy attachment on it. Your entire deck needs no energy, which is so nice. Is that the only basic they have in this deck?
There's a Hitmonlee. There's a Hitmonlee as well, yep.
This is, I think, more often the start you're looking for. Lee is great, especially if they've got a bench they're building up, but I think more
First,
often you're looking to start far-fetched.
first energy advantage here is big for our fighting player as well. They were missing that in the last game, and giving a Meltan first energy advantage to kind of get its stuff set up is a big deal. Man, look all man, if they give us a fossil tutor, these decks are gonna be really something. I mean, they're already looking pretty solid, but if they had added consistency on top of it,
What a ludicrously good draw right there, too.
yep. Have
I
both
mean,
of
they
our
just hit they've hit 2 stage 1s that they needed right there. I was even wondering, like, are we gonna, like, power the Aerodactyl right now, but they decide not to.
I see some folks in chat asking about how do they enter tournaments like this. This was completely free and open entry. Had about 1,000 people competing today, and we're now down to our top 32. Spraggles and I need to discuss the details off stream, but today's been pretty successful. I have to imagine we'll do more of these at some point in the not too distant future.
No, let's talk about it on stream. All right, Jeff, you pay me 5K. You know that's my fee. No, yeah, I would love to I would love to do it again. It's always a pleasure casting with you. And I mean, especially at the start of a new set, like I just want to see so many decks. Like show me what's like playing into all this stuff. And especially like as we saw that Greninja, Gyarados, Drud deck earlier, I want to see how the new stuff does into things that were previously top meta picks too.
Yep.
And I want to see Mewtwo lose, which
I would say
unfortunately
I
we
want to
didn't
see
get to
Mewtwo
see.
hit 21% win rate in the next one. Okay, it stopped at 22, and then they were all gone, and they couldn't lose anymore.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Maybe if more people played Mewtwo, they could have had a lower win rate. That would have been nice.
So we have both the stage ones here, like we were just talking about. The Rampardos only needing 1 energy all the way up the curve is so powerful. We get to invest that first energy into Aerodactyl here while also still having the flexibility to move into Rampardos next turn. The Duck softens up this giant metal. Is it a dinosaur or a dragon? It's a dragon, right?
Dragons are dinosaurs, I believe. That's kind of what they figured out when they were digging up the fossils. They're basically like these are dinosaurs and they are dragons. So yeah, both
At
are
any
right.
rate, the giant metal creature is softened to a degree in which a Rampardos off the top would clean it out and pick it up, and we see the Leaf here doing a little bit of a shuffle, kind of accounting for that.
Yeah, I mean the nice thing about Rampardos is even without seeing it on the board, you're always in danger. You have to play around knowing your opponent could have Rampardos at any moment, right? Again, only 1 energy. They retreat Duck for 1, and they could start swinging. This might be a nice time to search for that in the deck here. They could wait 1 more turn,
Yeah,
but
I'll
this
be I'll be
doesn't
curious to
even.
see if we hit the Rampardos. I'm not sure if I would want to put it up here. I feel like I'd be okay just like trading the duck for damage. But I guess we'll see what they do here. They might not want to give up the knockout point to start.
Yeah. The nice thing about like searching for it, there were 2 Rampardos, 1 Hitmonlee, 1 more Aerodactyl. I guess there were honestly a lot of chances they didn't grab that. So they got
Well,
fortunate with that one.
we're on the switch here. Again, this attack only deals the recoil damage if Rampardo scores a knockout. So this is a 130 hit point swing, 100 damage swing that doesn't clean it out. I wonder if. So we saw the X speed not get used this turn. It could be that they want to get the Rampardos to do the damage and not take the recoil here because all their energy costs are so efficient. So if they leave this in, we could see them shuffle back to the Duck and take the knockout with the Farfetch'd.
Yeah, that would be nice. And then they're only taking the 30 damage if they keep the Dialga in here, which I think they may just do to power some of their bench. They have 2 really weakened Dialgas right now.
Yep. And you're playing against a Hitmonlee deck on the Dialga side, so like you're somewhat incentivized to just like leave it up with 20, because if you retreat it back to the bench, it still has a high probability of getting cleared anyways. So you might as well get your impact and get your energy from it.
Yeah, and something that you don't know, when you see your opponent use the Pokemon communication, you don't know they grabbed Rampardos. They could have grabbed Lee. So they have that. And the amazing thing with Hitmonlee, Sneaky Lee, with that X speed right there, Rampardos comes back to the bench. Lee hits the board, 1 energy, KOs the back line there. So retreating that Dialga is not always the safest move. However, no Hitmonlee.
And this is exactly what we saw them setting up. This makes sense why they didn't use the X speed last turn. The Duck gets to get in here and pick the first knockout point up, and then at any point we draw Hitmonlee and the game ends on the spot.
Yep. Really nice. Yeah,
Even
that's a really tough moment. I mean, you can't bring in the other Dialga, right? It goes down to
oh my
Rampardos.
goodness, the flavor text on Aerodactyl here. We can't even put up the Meltan and top deck and evolve.
Uh,
The
don't
Prime
they know
it's
about the Primeval
it's the
Law?
law. Stop
It,
trying to evolve.
you can't break the Primeval Law, Jeff. And I know everyone in the chat's talking about it right now. You just simply can't break the Primeval Law. And you always try to break it, but you can't break the Primeval Law, guys.
Yep. You've all
I don't think
all
they have
been there. The
anything.
law comes for you eventually.
Yeah. Ooh. I swear, I swear they forgot about the law.
I
It's right there. The
it's
Primeval
the
Law is right
long
there.
pause of forgetting about the law is definitely real.
Yeah. From the chat, without the law, we have nothing. Exactly. Without the Primeval Law, what do we have? We don't even have a society anymore without the Primeval Law. Oh man.
Right.
Here comes Mew with a cape. Okay. So they cape the Mew. This buys them a little time. Cyrus. Okay. Can't believe the duck is swinging for this. The duck swings for the knockout. Home run. The leak slap KO.
All right, we're heading to a game 3 here.
Dude. Whoa. I mean, these decks are so fun. This is just these are such fun decks.
Rampardos being this big heavy hitter on a one knockout point body is incredibly powerful. And Farfetch still coming in and putting up and letting everybody know why it is the most efficient attacking format staple we have in the game.
Here we go. Maybe not the start they're looking for once again. However, not too bad on the bench right here. They are able to put down their Skull Fossil. We see on the other side, this gives them a good opportunity to place energy directly on the Meltan and a Mass, generating some extra. Everything they've got in their deck, except for Mew, is generating extra energy at different times, right? They've got the Dialga and they've got the Meltan. So a lot of extra energy being generated, a lot of extra turns that they save with something like this.
And the interesting thing here, with the fossils lined up, the Rampardo stage 1 kind of does like a super Farfetch'd impersonation here, right? We get to switch out, we get to put this out, we get to put one energy on, and we get to crack for 50.
Yeah,
And
very solid right here.
What's kind of crazy with this burst of damage, they can't even just evolve into Melmetal and be safe because the Rampardos will clean it out through its Metal Coat ability.
Mm-hmm. See what they decide to do. Dialga hits the bench. We can retreat into it. It's probably going to be the play. I don't think they want to give up a point here.
Oh.
X speed.
So
Interesting.
we have the evolution, so we don't
okay.
lose to the Hitmonlee on the bench, but at the same time here, if the Rampardos comes off the top or gets communicated into, this Dialga is not long for this world.
I think you might dig for it, right? I would be digging for it, I think. You got a
And
lot of cards you could grab, but if you grab it,
all right, we have a game, as they say.
Primeval Law. I bet they're going to follow the Primeval Law this time. I bet. Now the question is, what do they want to do here? So if they attack, they might waste turn. They might not have Leaf, right? Instead, they're deciding to retreat.
Yep, I like this retreat here. I think this retreat might seem a little bit weird on the surface, but if there's a leaf from the Dialga player, they would lose their card here, and Rampardos is their avenue to win this game, and they can't give it up without getting knockouts with it first.
Yeah, and I mean, it can be so hard to get the Fossil stage 1, stage 2 online. So I don't think you give up the Cranidos here. Our opponent's just deciding to power the Dialga. We don't know if that's what they were going to do or not, but we know we're not getting the cards we're looking for, as Farfetch is going to start swinging on the Dialga here, hitting it for 40 damage, getting it into a nice KO range for Rampardos.
A term that gets thrown around in card games a lot is the concept of who's the beatdown. Basically, asking the question, which deck in the matchup is the one that needs to be applying pressure and needs to end the game quickly because the other one's going to kind of go over the top of them here. And I think the fighting deck is definitely the beatdown in this positioned matchup here. The longer this game goes, the more energy this Dialga is allowed to build up, the less likely this fighting deck is going to be able to pull it off.
Yeah, and they're in a tough spot here, right? They just don't have a lot of great options. They have not found their Rampardos. Their Farfetch does some damage. Their Aerodactyl also could do some pretty decent damage, but to be fair, it gets really low when dealing with Melmetal, and it doesn't do that much damage to it, only 60, so it can't pick up a KO.
So, oh, the cape is a huge deal here. The cape
Yeah.
means you get to knock out the duck and not go down to the Aerodactyl next turn unless a Giovanni shows up.
Oof.
So
Okay.
big top deck here.
It really is. Wow. Huh.
So, I mean, you gotta hit the Dialga because putting the Dialga to 10 means that you can clean it out with the Hitmonlee. So you just gotta secure one other knockout here.
Yeah. Dialga can dawn you for 100 and they still have plenty of energy. Like you can dawn that Mew.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
here we go.
I love the Okay, so this is interesting. We dawned off the other Melmetals, so that means that
Oh, okay.
that means we have the other one. So I love taking the 100-point hit with the Dialga here because it's acknowledging, okay, this is getting Kickmon lead anyways, so I might as well just like get my 100 on the way out the door with it.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, and now they actually
Rampardos.
don't have any way to clear the Dialga other than Rampardos, but the Rampardos goes down to Mew or yeah, they got to switch this out.
Yeah. If they switch it out, they can retreat to Lee, right? And pick this KO up. And then Lee goes down, switching Rampardos in.
But Rampardos doesn't clear Melmetal in one because of the metal coat.
But Rampardos clears the other
Cyrus.
Melmetal with Cyrus.
The Cyrus, yep, okay.
The other Melmetal will get cleared with Cyrus. Wow. Oh!
Oh! And the
what
Cyrus
about that
back!
Cyrus?
Oh,
What about that
man.
Cyrus, Jeff? I mean,
What
we're
a
forgetting about Cyrus's all over the
brutally
place
close
here.
game.
GG,
Holy.
what a game.
That was cinema. That
was great.
Fantastic. Well played by both of those players.